hunger is a real interesting thing. And I think if you have people who struggle with that, I'm very happy if they've got a way out.
Right. And I try to identify that. I'm not the one prescribing these medications. I try to get them to go to their doctor. But I will say, like, I mean, I've had clients who have been prescribed it before, who, like you mentioned, are more on the psychological side of things, and they'll eat through the hunger.
Right.
And they'll be like, I'm throwing up, I'm very nauseous. This is worse. So you hear some of these stories. I think some people just are very sensitive to the medication and they get side effects and maybe they need to try a different one. But some people will eat through that hunger signaling because they're not paying attention to the hunger signaling. They're just eating for to feel some other need, right? And so being able to identify that, right? And I generally will be kind of talking to them about like how their hunger is and if their drive to eat is more physiological or psychological or a combination of the two. Yeah, and in that case, like you said, I mean, I think there was probably, and you've talked about this, where you did a lot of psychological work to get where you're at. And that was probably one of the bigger things. Obviously, the lifestyle stuff, making it more sustainable, all that's very important too. But also dealing with the underlying, because even in physique sport, like you get people who want to change their outward appearance, and sometimes it's not for the correct reasons, and so they get to whatever outcome, and they're still struggling, right? And maybe it is a ticking time bomb before they rebound back to whatever they are, or they just stay at this low body fat and they're miserable.
That is one of the wildest things. Like you can have in your head, like if I'm X body fat percentage at X weight, this is going to be perfect. And for me, whenever I got to those places, I wasn't happy. That's another thing to like take into consideration with all of this. Like I'm just unfortunately also have to like figure out a way to congratulate myself on objective things that I've achieved with my physicality, which I'm working on every day, but I also will be forever, without having that finish line, because that finish line, I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's better than it was 2 weeks ago, but it's still not. And I've actually got the producer of the show is taking not the Wegovy, the other one.
Okay.
Monjaro. Yeah. And even she, she wanted to lose 40 pounds. This was her goal, 40 pounds. And she got to 40 pounds and she was like, so I'm like, without going like, I've had to reevaluate and X, Y, and Z, she's like, I need to lose 10 more pounds. And I'm like, what will you be happy at 10 more pounds? Like, is there another, because my wife has been telling me about the 2 pounds she wants to lose, no matter what weight she is, for years. And those 2 pounds haunt her and she'll lose them. And it's still 2 pounds that she needs to lose. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that we think that it's all about the outcome. We think that it's like in my case, I want to be a professional and I want to do this thing, I want to win this show or whatever it might be. But I think if you do it long enough, hopefully you eventually see that it is not about that. And it is more about the process and, all of the things that come along with that. Right. Like, and focusing on the outcome can be something that's very burdensome. And when you get there, you realize like, oh, this isn't what I imagined it to be. You imagine when I achieve this outcome, I'm going to be happy. And it's like, well, no, the happiness is in the day to day. The happiness is not in this future thing that you're trying to achieve. Right. So, maybe it takes you enough times. It took me, I remember even in a personal experience, like buying my dream car. And then I was like, well, this is fun, but like, it didn't really change me.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always the next thing. Right. So, and I think you've realized this and I did too, more so as like, I love to lift weights. I love to eat healthily and I love what it does for me. And as a result, I get a better body composition. I get to look better and feel better and stuff like that. And that's awesome. But on the day to day, like I enjoy my day to day, like finding the exercise that I enjoy, finding the diet style that I like. And it makes me feel fulfilled. So I think that you in this, I think, yes, I think that people, most definitely there's people who by losing weight, they're going to feel better and it's going to improve their quality of life.